Alright guys, so I kind of thought I was right the whole time, but let's dive into it, shall we? Hey guys, welcome to Rolling with T-Bone. If you're new here, welcome in. We invite you to check out this video and check out some of our others. If you like what you see, maybe consider subscribing to our channel. If you're old here, welcome back. You know what's going on as we dive into tonight's episode. I hope y'all enjoy.
This trip from abject failure. At the next gas station, my heart dropped. I had just gotten a notification that the listing had changed. Now, I had expected it to change to sold, but he had just changed the description. It went from describing the $12 firm at Doughboy to saying that he was taking the listing down due to harassment. He said that dealing with the hundreds of people sending him hate messages and making fun of him on top of his health conditions was just too much for him. I quickly sent him a message that said we were still very serious about showing up and buying the Doughboy, $12 firm, not a penny less. And I went ahead and checked out his Facebook page before I ever heard one word back from him. And yes, we did get the Doughboy. But it was Greg that saved the trip. And yes, he's Greg now, not some weirdo old man who looks like he's taking a dick pic with the Doughboy. His name is Greg, and here's what I found out about him before I ever even met him. Greg likes cute puppies and Elvis. Greg loves his wife, he loves his brother, he loves his children and his grandkids, and Greg is suffering from congestive heart failure. He's lost his health, and because of that, he's also lost his job. He's in danger of losing his home, and he's been let down by a country that's supposed to catch our people when they fall, and instead has let a man like this slip through the cracks and be forgotten. And instead of laying down, giving up, and dying, Greg has taken what little he has left in this world to sell for a few bucks on Facebook Marketplace just to try to survive one more month. He was even selling a broken knife on there. In the listing, he described the knife. It was a knife that his father had given him when he was 16 years old, and he'd had it for 50 years. A Schrade Stockman knife, not the fanciest knife in the world, not the nicest knife, but a gift from his father, and something that had been a constant reminder of his late father that he carried around in his pocket for 5 decades. Now selling on Facebook Marketplace for a few bucks because Greg was doing what he had to do. And laugh. People, an old man selling a strange little doll for a few dollars. And none of them even thought for a minute as to why he might have to sell something like that. People who saw Greg with everything that he was going through, and they did nothing but point and laugh. People like me. I saw Greg at his most desperate moment, and the only thing I could think of was my own adventure. Awesome! A reason to take off on the bike, I thought. Bet everybody who watches the video I make on this will think I'm so quirky and wacky and weird. Oh, that rascal Shade Tree. Who knows what crazy adventure he'll get up to next? You never know what that guy's gonna do. He just might drive 1,000 miles to pick up something weird on Facebook Marketplace. Oh my God! Now all of a sudden I felt like I 100% deserved every bit of shitty weather, sketchy hotels, breakdowns, and bad times that I was having on this trip. At our next gas stop, I called up Brapstar's business partner, Jason from Sessions Cannabis Extract, and also a very close personal friend of myself and Shay Lisi, and I told him the story. Even though Jason owns Sessions Cannabis Extracts, if you live in Oregon, you're probably very familiar with Sessions, and if you're not, ask your local bud tender to order it on LeafLink. Now, even though Jason technically sells drugs for a living, he still ends up being the moral compass of our little quartet. So I trusted him to know what the right thing to do here was. We talked about it, and he reckoned since myself and Shay Lisi planned on making videos on this little trip that we should take whatever we thought we'd make on those videos and give that to Greg for the Doughboy. A decent video for me or Shay Lisi will net anywhere from 150 to 200 bucks in Google AdSense. But Jason from Sessions went ahead and threw in the rest to make it an even $1,000. Leave Jason some love in the comments down below. He is the epitome of bad people doing good things. And we even swung by Ace Hardware and picked up a Case Stockman knife to give Greg when we met up. Check Facebook Marketplace again. Greg had messaged me back and he was still down to meet up. And while he was exceedingly confused as to why so many gay men found him so irresistibly handsome that they flooded his messages over a picture of him with the doughboy, he was still in pretty good spirits. We just had to hurry up because if I could find out anything else that made this guy more of a saint, he had to be somewhere by 5, and that somewhere was to take care of his mother at hospice because he spends the night with her. That one really twisted it in the ribs for me. It really did, man. I just felt like 5 foot 12.5 inches of excrement at that point. Not a good feeling. So now we were racing against the clock, not for a quirky little trophy and a story to tell, but for redemption. We first saw that picture, I initially shared it to her and go, look at this, man, it's kind of funny. This guy's... We got to the meetup spot in the nick of time, and Greg did not disappoint. This is Shay, by the way.
Yeah.
Good to meet you. We were there going online. I bet you didn't think we were going to show up. Now, I'll tell you, when we first saw that picture, I initially shared it to her and go, look at this, man, it's kind of funny. This guy's selling a Pillsbury Doughboy. It was a little bit funny, right? You know, it's a funny thing to sell.
It's like goofy stuff.
Yeah, we said, well, we'll hit him up and see if he's got it. We said there was like 50 people hitting you up for it.
At least. My picture got into... My camera on my phone is broke right in the back, so I have to take pictures in the front. A lot of times I get myself in the picture. I hate to say it, but it's the pedophiles out there that were hitting me up, man. Oh, I had everything.
Probably some of those people weren't even gay. They were just trying to mess with you.
Yeah.
That's what pissed us off, and that's what really caused us to want to come out here even more.
It's just amazing to me. I've never had that. I post a few things. I have, my daughter has to help me because I don't know a lot about a phone, but it's just amazing to me that all the guys, I had several people want to buy the thing, but I got so disgusted with it, I just took it off. Especially when you told me you were interested in definitely coming, so I said, I just took it off. Well, I'll tell you, a lot of those people probably saw that and they was just messing with you, man. Well, I saw
they just want to give you a hard time. That drives me nuts when people want to give someone a hard time, especially because we went and we looked through a couple of your other listings and we saw what you were selling. The knife especially stuck out to me because you're talking about how your father gave it to you, and I figure anybody who keeps something since they were 16 years old, that's got to mean something. And then I went through everything else. I saw your page and I saw what you were going through. We made it back home. This adventure definitely didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to turn out. That is for damn sure. And I guess I could wax poetic and say something very trite about not knowing how it's going to turn out. Makes the very best adventure of them all, but I really just don't feel like being like that right now. Kind of was really taken aback and really did a lot of self-reflection and had to really think about why I was making the video and the fact that this was a real human being behind this. And of course I know that, I think about that. I've done YouTube for many years now and I've met a lot of other people who do YouTube. In the early years when I made YouTube videos, I used to have these preconceived notions about what people were like, what they would be like when I met them. There's people that I didn't like who made YouTube videos who, then I met them and they weren't anything like what I had in my head. And what I learned was you can't judge somebody from videos, not even videos like mine, where I'm really honest. And you certainly can't judge somebody from one picture. And I'm not saying that I was judging Greg, but certainly didn't think about who was behind the picture. And I was being honest when I said I was a little ashamed of myself. And I think that all of us could stand to remember that on Instagram and in memes and on YouTube and TikTok and all these people were laughing at. And trust me, I laugh along with everybody. I find a lot of this cringe content and weird stuff, bizarre meta irony. I love that stuff. I find it to be hilarious. I laugh often at it, but it does good to remember that there are real people behind all of those, and they're a lot more real than we would like them to be sometimes.
All right, guys, so there you see kind of what happened. And so I know you may be asking yourself, T-Bone, why even make a video about this? And you may be right to ask that question, but as we roll out on Jazz here on just an absolutely gorgeous day, my first thought is, with the way the world is today, we need to, when somebody's willing to do good things like this, we need to highlight it, which is why on my channel I shared the original video. And before anybody goes crazy and says, well, you're exploiting Shade Tree Surgeon, no, I've had permission from Josh for a long time that his content, I can use it, put it in videos to help promote for, you know, Forgotten Angels, and so I'm not exploiting anybody. And for those of y'all who have been with me for a while, y'all know about a year and a half, I guess, yeah, it's been close to a year and a half now. I made a video called Exposing Shade Tree Surgeon. That is still my most viewed video, and it is still one that gets the most views in a month's time on my channel. A lot of views on that video. 52, get close to 53,000 if it ain't already hit 53. And like I said, I think that we do an injustice to not give someone their flowers when they do stuff like this. And of course, Josh covered it in his video, and that's why I didn't want to show the whole video. I just wanted to show part of it. That way you can kind of see what kind of person Shade Tree Surgeon is, and the kind of person he is kind of the kind of person that I expected him to be when I made the Exposing Shade Tree Surgeon video. Get up there, dear. I see you. You climb that bank. I got faith in you. My opinion hasn't changed at all. As a matter of fact, it just kind of reconfirms what I already thought about the guy, that he was a genuine dude, a good human being, a big lovable Muppet. But to kind of, I want you to go watch the video yourself. But, to kind of look at a situation and see that this gentleman, Greg, was just in a real bad spot, and we all get in those places in life where, we just hit really hard moments, and then to post something for sale just so you can get $10. Josh didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to buy anything. He didn't have to do anything. And then to show up and give this gentleman $1,000 because Josh read up on his backstory, found out who he was and what he was going through, and then just give him $1,000 cash to help him. Not really expecting anything, not really wanting anything. That's the kind of person Shade Tree is. And I will go ahead and say this here. I believe from the time that I started watching Shade Tree Surgeon years ago to now, I think that is the positive effect from us watching Josh organically become friends with David and Cindy at Forgotten Angels, and then over the course of time, Josh becoming an intricate part, a big help to Forgotten Angels. So I think this is the result of that. I think this is the result of that influence. Now, I know there's going to be naysayers out there who's going to watch his video and they're automatically going to start running their mouths. So to those people, I will say this. I know people are going to say, oh, he's just grandstanding. He put that in a video. Josh explained very plainly why he put that in a video at the end of his video, to try to lean people away from being mean. And the way I kind of understood it, if I read into what was being said right, was Greg was people were treating him pretty rough. They were being mean to him. It was bad. And Josh's purpose for putting all that in a video was to show people not to treat people that way. And like Josh said in his video, we all laugh at these funny memes. We see these memes on our social medias all day long. And some of them we chuckle at, some of them are funny. But we got to remember, at the end of the day, guys, these are real people that are involved in this. and Greg was having a really, really bad time. You know, people passing away on him, sick mother-in-law he's trying to help. Just watch the video and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But to see the effect that this, you know, money that Josh, fortunately, by the grace of God, had and was able to give him, how much that impacted his life immediately. To see that was just wow. You know, it was just wow. To, you know, we always talk about, and I'm guilty of it, we're all guilty of it, we always talk about how much better place the world would be if people were more willing to do the very thing that Josh did. And like I said, there was no benefit for Josh to do this. There was no benefit for Shay to do this. It's because it touched their heart. You know, and I don't talk about things a lot, but at the rec here about a month and a half ago at the rec department, we had a young boy, well, not a boy, he's a young man, about 25, homeless, coming in. I didn't know his whole story. I didn't need to know his whole story. But it moved my heart when I heard that he was homeless and that things had kind of fell apart for him. You know, I went and bought him lunch that day, and I slid some money in his pocket, and he grabbed my hand and shook it, and he was so thankful. You know, people, and this is what I say, I don't do this for what the rest of the world might say. I don't do this for what the rest of the world might think. Like, you know, wrestling, when I would do charity shows and pro wrestling and raise up money and just give it away to people who needed it, I didn't do that for any kind of flowers or any kind of acknowledgement. I didn't need a pat on the back to say, oh, you're a great guy. I did it because it was in my heart to do. Same thing with Freemasonry. I became a Freemason because it's in my heart to help people, and that's what we do. And you know, when you see the results of being around people like this, like a David Tyler, very Christian, like a Cindy Tyler, who's very Christian, who want to help these people who have aged out of the foster care system, not for benefit, not for flat, because listen guys, they're not a foster family. The state's not paying them to take care of these people who have aged out of the foster care system. They're doing this out of the kindness of their heart. There's no benefit to Dave and Cindy for helping these young men and women. There's no benefit for Cindy to put together the Kira Adderley House for neglected women, single mothers. There's no benefit. They're not making a dime off of the state, off of the government. They're not making a dime off of anyone. It's people like you and me who see the need, who see the $25, whether you win a motorcycle or not. Who cares? Who cares? If you win a motorcycle, well, great, whoop-de-doo. But you do that because you're a good human being trying to help other human beings. And for me, sorry about that, guys. I had to collect myself just a little bit, because I ain't gonna lie to you, when I watched that video, you know, it hit the heartstrings. A little bit of mist in my eyes, smoke got in my eyes. But when you try to be a good human being, you know, and I've talked about this before with people on YouTube and just in my everyday life, people that I know and friends and family, I believe in karma. I really do. I believe what goes around comes around, and I believe what you put out there in the world comes back to you. You know, I tried to instill it into my kids. I think I've told this story before on this channel. But this goes back probably 7, 8, 9 years ago, maybe even a decade ago. But there was a lady in Blue Ridge, where I live. She was from India, and she had 2 kids, and she was just kind of standing on the corner out there where Walmart is, crying. And she had a sign, and I didn't even bother to read the sign. I pulled up and I rolled the window down, and I said, you know, here's everything I got. Guys, I had $10, and TJ and Nico were sitting in the back seat. And she told me, she said, my husband has abandoned me in this country. She said, I'm trying to get a plane ticket to get me and my kids back home to India. And we pulled away, and Nico said, Dad, that was the last bit of money you had. And I said, it was. That was every dime I had in my pocket. But like I told them, you know what? I had gas in my tank. We had food at home in the cupboard to eat. We were okay. That $10 didn't mean anything. And the karma side of that came back to me is 2 days later, I got a call to go price a cabin to stay in it. And I got the cabin, and I ended up making close to $7,000 off that job. So I believe it's happened to me in my life too many times. And I believe what you put out there comes back to you. And you know, hey, maybe your life is perfect. You know, maybe you don't have hard times. But there's a lot of us out here. I'm not rich by any means. I live from week to week. If one of these cameras go down, if one of my bikes go down, I'm done. That's a wrap. Because right now I wouldn't have the money to fix it. But you know, there's people out here like us who knows what it's like to struggle, who see the blessings that we have in our life, who take account of the blessings that we have in our life, and we say, hey, you know, we can we can help. We don't have a lot. And I saw this, and I seen it, and I'm sorry about the coughing, guys, but I seen this, and I put a post out on Facebook, guys. Been a long time ago, 14 years maybe. But we were doing a toy run, and it was late November. The organizer of the toy run, Harley, he had got a late start because of health issues. But we had a place designated for the toys, and we were standing out in front of the store. We had our bikes out there. We had the Christian CMA, Christian Motorcycle Association, was there. And I noticed the people who were donating toys. The people in Cadillacs were driving on by, looking down their nose at the bikers that were out there trying to do a thing. But it was the people who had the car that was knocking and who looked like they were struggling themselves. Sorry about that, guys. I should have took a Benadryl before I left the house. Jeez. Pollen is rough, and it's only March. Oh, good grief. But anyway, you know, it was the people who looked like they were struggling themselves. And they would go into the store, and they would come out with a toy and put it in the box to go to underprivileged children. And I had snapped a picture of a girl and her husband, and they had told us their story, that the year before they had been in hard times. And we have a place here in our area called the Crisis Center, and they help everybody in the tri-state area that they can. And of course, this year that was who we were sending the toys to, because they knew the people who to get them out to. But I snapped the picture, and I kind of wrote a, you know, pretty long post on the Facebook post, you know, about the type of people, you know, the Christians who were in their Cadillacs and Lincolns and brand new F-150s, and they were looking down their nose at the bikers. I've always noticed, and I've said this a million times in other videos, and you guys have heard me say this that have been with me for a while. There is no community in the world, no community, and you cannot convince me otherwise, but there is no community on this planet that gives more than the motorcycle community. Whether it be a disabled child who wants to take a bike ride, whether it be a bunch of unfortunate children who need food, clothes, toys for Christmas, whether it be a veteran that needs a ramp built so they can get their wheelchair in and out of their house. You cannot convince me that there's another community that gives as much as the motorcycle community. And you know, Shade Tree, what he did is just another example of that. What he says is bad people doing good things. So when you see that, and the message that you're trying to get out on that is that you're trying to inspire people to do the exact same thing you're doing. So I said it before in the last video I made about Shade Tree Surgeon, and of course at the end of every one of my videos, guys, the Forgotten Angels logo and website pops up at the end of every one of my videos. You don't have to give you don't have to give a lot to help a lot. And you know, Josh has given so much. And I'm not talking about monetary. It's not always monetary. It's time. It's looking at, you know, your Facebook page, or it's looking at your YouTube channel, or it's looking at your Instagram page and saying, hey, you know, all I got, I got this platform. Maybe there's somebody in my group that don't know anything about Forgotten Angels. That's it. That's all you got to do. Because the person you share that with might say, hey, you know what, I can send some money to this place. So it's drawing inspiration from a good deed to inspire people to do good deeds. And for me, that's what I've always been about. Whether, like I said, whether it be pro wrestling, whether it be motorcycle benefits, if you can help someone, because listen guys, I've been there. I've been less fortunate. Me and R1 have hit hard times where we've had to depend on the kindness of people to help us out. I've been there. I'm not a stranger to that. So I guess that's why it kind of hits me different when it hits, is because I know what it feels like. And, you know, do I know what it feels like to be kicked around in the foster care system? No. R1 does, because she spent time in the foster care system. But I know what it's like to lose my mother at 11 years old. For her to be murdered and taken away from me, and to live with a alcoholic, drug abusing father who just checked out. I know what it's like to be 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, raising two younger brothers, twins that were only 3 when their mother died. So I know what struggling in a situation is. And you know, when something like that happens and you go through a thing like that in your life, it gives you more appreciation. You know, yeah, I don't have a 2025 Road Clyde. I don't have a 2025 Road King. I got a 2000 Road King called Jazz, and I love her just like she's a 2025. You know, I don't have the best new cruiser on the market. I got a 2003 Fat Boy named Big Papa that I love like a new motorcycle. I got an old chopper, an old Pro Street Custom named Joker, that even though he's got gremlins in his electrical system, and I'm almost that close to call a Catholic priest to exercise him or touch him in a bad place or something. I'm sorry about that. That's bad. I should have said that. But I'm, you know, it's just like he's a brand new 2025 chopper built by the best chopper builder in the world. That's how much I appreciate it, because I've rode old motorcycles that when you hit the starter on it, you didn't know if you was going to get to where you were going or not. So I understand what it's like to get something and to appreciate it. I know what it's like to have kindness shown to me. And I know what it's like. I know how it makes me feel to show kindness to other people, to be able to help them, to be able to do things for them. And this is the big thing, guys, right here. To do things for them, not expecting anything back. And speaking of, Dale Ray, that man right there is my brother, Dale Ray, pulling his boat, getting ready to go fishing, look like. But you know, again, just past me, he has pulled me out of the hole so many times when unexpected things have popped up, and I'd be standing there with my tongue in my mouth, not sure what to do. But to get back to what I was saying originally, it's to be able to do things not with expectations of anything back. Not, hey, I did this for you, now what are you going to do for me? It's not that. It's to do things to be able to say, hey, you were in a bad spot. God has blessed me a little bit this month. I was able to help you. Hey, to me, there's nothing in the world that's more satisfying than just being able to help somebody, and not to brag about it, and not to boast about it, and not to go and pat yourself on the back and say, ooh, look what I did. This is what I did. Look what I did. That's the wrong reason. And y'all know how I feel about that. Y'all have heard my pet peeves aired out on this channel before. But I got to get over here. I got to get some fuel and Jazz, and I got to get some fuel and T-Bone. But we'll come back and we'll continue on with a couple other things I want to discuss in this video while I got you out here with me riding around. So y'all just hang tight a minute. Alright guys, now that I'm able to get out of Copper Hill, I had to stop by the shop, do a couple of things. So yeah, okay, so you know, that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing with Shade Tree Surgeon. But moving on, I do have a couple other things I want to touch on real quick. Unchained the rabbit hole. I got the messages, and of course I answered you know, you guys who were wondering what was going on. No, I did not have a falling out with John, retired rider, nothing like that. I left the rabbit hole in the beginning. It was a temporary thing. I had to leave because of my schedule, which is still screwed up because we're still a man down at work. But you know, there was no, you know, nothing bad happened, no animosity. And you know, I get what you were saying in the message, and I told him I wouldn't put him on blast, and I'm not going to. It's my conversation, but I get what you were saying about the way things are, and you know, you're right to an extent. But here's the great thing about talking about cryptid stuff, cryptids and mythical creatures, and you know, conspiracy stuff. The good thing about all that stuff is it's open subjects. Anybody can make a video about it, and you know, I think what they're doing with the rabbit hole is you know, cool, good. I do get what you're saying about, you know, watching and everything, but you know, John has put some time into that channel and money. I mean, he's got it on Spotify, and I think a couple of the other ones. You know, it's always been John's channel. Now, in the beginning, he used to tell everybody that I was the host, but I was basically co-host. It was his channel, it was his baby. You know, his to do what he seemed fit with to do. And I think it's going good. I think there's a couple of hiccups in it. There's a couple of shortcomings. I'm telling you guys, this pollen is killing me. I'm sorry. Sorry about coughing so much. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, the only thing I would caution against is being dismissive of people. When people are giving you their encounters with stuff, and people are, you know, having confidence in you, and they're talking to you about what they're going through, things that they've experienced, not be dismissive of it. You know, and the belief in things is one of the problems. If you don't have a genuine belief or a genuine curiosity about a subject, you can come across as being dismissive. And I get what you were saying about that. Not that John's dismissive, and I don't think Coy's, and I know Coy really studies this stuff, and I know he's really interested in this stuff. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but yeah, I mean, I left on good terms with John. And you know, maybe later on when my schedule allows it, and I ain't got being pulled in a couple of 15 million different directions, sure, maybe I can come back on and you know, be a guest on the show or something further on down the line. But as for right now, as it stands, you know, I'm no longer affiliated with it, and I kind of, about the second week in, I kind of seen that John was doing permanent things. Of course, he brought on Ray, and I kind of seen that was going to go, that was the way that was going to go. I kind of figured that's how it would go. But, you know, it's again, and I know the political stuff, John got away from the political writer stuff because the politics stuff just didn't perform as well. But you know, it's just, it's YouTube, guys. You just got to throw stuff against the wall and sometimes see what sticks. But yeah, I mean, no, there's no animosity, no bad feelings. We didn't part on bad terms. I still consider John a friend. Yeah, so and to all of the guys who do live chat, you know, shows, I you know, I'm not there a lot, but the reason why is my work schedule, and just, you know, don't have time. Which brings me to the next point I want to talk to you about. That is, this week, at the end of this week, this is a Saturday episode. So, as you're watching this yesterday, actually, I should have met with Blue Bike and Doyle. He's coming to Blue Ridge, unless something changes on his side. He is coming to Blue Ridge to discuss the Georgia motorcycle meetup, the GAM, which is May the 16th, 17th, and 18th, and I'm pretty sure that's locked in stone now, because I shared Doyle's video. If you'll go through my community posts, and he'll tell you where they're staying, what the rates are, what changed, who to tell them you're with, if you're planning on coming up and staying the weekend or just one night. But basically what this is going to be is everybody's going to kind of get into town on Friday, I guess, the ones who are going to be staying. And then Saturday, we're all going to meet in Blue Ridge that Saturday morning. And then we're just going to go on a ride. You know, I'm not sure exactly yet. That's what me and Doyle will kind of decide. But I'll be touching on that more as we get closer to time. And then, of course, everybody will be leaving out the Sunday, which is the 18th. But that'll be coming up, so y'all keep your eyes open for that. And I know Doyle will be here. I'm pretty sure Second Cousin said he was coming. I don't know if Southern Hogs is going to make it or not. He's got a little bit further away to come. But everybody who can, I know Hooligan won't be able to make it. And, you know, maybe we can do a Alabama meetup. If not this year, maybe the year after, we can do like a Fort Payne meetup and kind of get over there in Hooligan's neck of the woods, so he can take us all out and show us around in his area on a Saturday. Maybe kind of make this thing mobile a little bit around the South. But I tell you what, guys, I think we've got ourselves a Saturday episode. So I'm going to back on out of here, and I'm going to continue to ride on and enjoy the ride. But y'all remember to like, share, comment. If you go back, watch some of our old videos, and you like what you see, maybe consider giving us a subscribe. But until the next time, guys, support Forgotten Angels. Go get yourself a raffle ticket. And until the next time, y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And hey, thanks for watching.